Hello, one and all. This is the Peace Dealer, and this is episode 31 of Peace Talk. I haven't done an episode in a while, so I'm really excited. And this episode, we have the lovely Candice Cooper. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you guys doing?
Definitely great. It's a new season. We're dealing with reality checks with this Virgo energy, so I'm quite excited.
Okay, so you're feeling Virgo energy because I'm feeling like the Saturn Mars eclipse craziness.
Oh yes, that too. I mean, I guess I'm feeling the Saturn because the Virgo squares it, but yeah, I have a Capricorn moon, so I'm more in tune with the Earth right now.
Okay. Yes. I'm a Capricorn sun.
I was gonna ask you actually, what's your sun, moon, and rising?
So my sun is Capricorn, my moon is Cancer, and my rising is Gemini. So I'm kind of all over the place.
I like that double cardinal action right there. That's interesting.
I like as if I didn't need to be any more assertive in life, you know. It was like, yes.
That's great. So, wow. And I could totally see the Gemini rising. That's definitely what drew me to you, actually. You definitely, you have that animation and the communication, as they say.
Yeah. I was an actor for a long time when I was a little kid. So I always had, no one ever would like, anytime I would tell someone I was a Capricorn, they were like, you don't act like a Capricorn. And then as I got older, I did my chart and I was like, oh, okay. It's probably because I have Gemini rising. So.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So how do you feel the Cancer moon balances with the Capricorn energy? That's a really interesting dynamic there.
Well, so for me, like I'm very like inherently a Capricorn. I was very into being a businesswoman when I was like a really little kid. But then I was always really in tune, a little bit too in tune to my emotions. Like I have kind of, deep, hold on one second. I have kind of like very deep intuition. So for me, it's good to balance that Capricorn because as a Capricorn, you could get kind of I get a little bit stodgy personally or kind of like stuck in a rut, but then there's like that flow of the Cancer moon and it kind of, opens everything up for me. So it's an emotional place to have your moon.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it really is. It's because I feel like when I was little, I felt things on a deeper level where I looked around me and everyone else kind of glossed over a lot of stuff. Whereas like I felt stuff very deeply and intensely. And I felt like it kind of, I don't know. I always wanted to just be like a Pisces or a Sagittarius when I was little. I was like, they have the easiest lives. So
They do. They do.
I do. With
Those
that Pisces
two.
energy.
Actually, so do you feel like you get emotional, but then you don't want to feel that, right? I know as a Capricorn moon, like I could just shut myself off when I start to feel stuff and be like, nope, not happening. So it's like a tug of war, I would think.
There is definitely a tug between my blending my head and my heart, and there always kind of like has been. So yeah, I don't know. I just, I try to just roll with it and keep myself. I do know, I think it's the Capricorn allows me as an adult to compartmentalize things. So when I was little, I kind of was overwhelmed by a lot of those emotions and the intensity of it. But then as I got older, I think the Capricorn started to step in and allowed me to say, okay, I'm feeling this really intensely, but I still kind of like have to go about my day. So let me kind of give that its attention and its time, but then also not get sucked into it.
Very well said. I like that. So are you like the 15th of January, like the late cap or the early cap?
I'm the 16th of January. So,
Okay,
yeah.
like 26 degrees. That's like
Yeah.
one moon. Sweet. My moon is 23 degrees actually. So
Okay, so we're getting a little Aquarian energy in there too, which is kind of appropriate for you because you're doing this show that reaches thousands of people. So, you know, Aquarians to me, I really like admire them because they're for the people. I like that Aquarian energy.
I love it too. I get very inspired by it. It's my destiny. My North Node's there as well.
Oh, okay, okay.
Where's yours? Is it in Pisces?
It is. Yes, it is in Pisces. I believe it's in Pisces. I wish I had my chart pulled up right now and I could go into where everything is. But my chart is very heavy in Sagittarius and Scorpio.
Oh, okay.
I have a lot. I'm a Capricorn, but I have a lot of kind of like fire and water in there too.
That makes so much sense. Like the fire definitely comes out. You have this like exuberance to you. It's
Oh, thank
contagious.
you. Yes, I want good things to be contagious from me.
That's great. That's great. I'm really curious, like how I'm sure you'll feel this later, but how is like Pluto influencing you in the Uranus square for any other Capricorns listening too?
Well, let's just say Pluto moving into Capricorn, I was, what was it, 2008? Has completely restructured my entire life. I was 24 then, I believe, and now, you know, I could see myself being rebuilt kind of like from the ground up. So Pluto, and then there's also been a lot of sudden home moves for me and a lot of, you know, kind of like quick and intense changes that are like deep too. So I feel you, Pluto. I feel you.
All right, yeah, definitely. I know it's intense, but it's just I've known some caps that gone through some near death experiences and car crashes, like when Pluto's right on their sun too. So it just has me like really on guard
Well,
personally.
yeah, well, it's funny you bring that up because when I was around 21, I was a passenger in a few car accidents, and I was just saying to myself, you know, this is so strange. Like, why is this happening? I'm like a magnet for these accidents. And I'm not sure like where Pluto was in my chart at that time, but it must have been aspecting something in my chart because I just kept getting hurt. And I was like, I don't understand this. Like, what's going on? So I would say, you know what I will say about stuff like that when it comes to like car accidents and everything like that? I almost think like car accidents or any sort of accident, it's when you really examine your life, you're like, I think it was a little wake-up call, you know? So as long as we're on our path, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, I don't think the universe has as much of a need to give us that wake-up call as, you know, like when I had those horrible accidents, I was like, it really did. It shook me up. It kind of showed me a different perspective on life. So if you're on your path, you're fine. Don't worry.
Wow, yeah. No, I definitely resonate with that. Especially I've always seen Pluto as like an awakening uh planet or orb that just kind of does what it can. So I in the description box below, guys, there's a link to her channel, Lunar Box Babes. Could you tell us a bit about this organization? I know you partner with someone for it.
Megan. Yes. Megan, she's my business partner. We've actually known each other since we were in kindergarten.
Wow.
So it is a long time. Megan and I, we've always been in each other's lives in, you know, kind of on the periphery. And then as we got older, we just realized we grew up in a small town in New Jersey that's like super not into anything magical.
That's where I'm from.
Oh, New Jersey?
Yeah, I used to live in Orange and then Clifton and then East Brunswick.
Oh my God. Okay. So Megan and I grew up in Bergen County.
Oh,
I live in Montclair now, so right next to Clifton.
nice.
But yeah, so we never really had any sort of opportunity to show each other our rock collection or anything like that. And so as we got older, we always kept in touch. And then we had this meeting one day in the summer about 2 years ago, and I was like showing her my rock collection. She's telling me about Esther Hicks and Abraham, and I'm showing her my tarot cards, and we're doing yoga in the woods, and we were just like, why are we not kind of like sharing what we know with everybody? I'm a hairstylist, and my whole entire thing is like I incorporate Reiki into my styling. I incorporate energy healing into my styling, and I also advise all of my clients on how to go more eco-friendly. And like I work in like bigger salons, and they're like, push the $40 shampoo. I'm like, go to Whole Foods, get, organic. So I was every time I told my clients buy rose water or whatever, they were running out and buying it, and everyone was like, well, are you a rep for these companies? And I was like, no, I do all this research, and I just want to be the shortcut for you guys. So Megan and I, we created this monthly subscription box, Lunar Box, and we pick a wellness item, a beauty item, and then you get a bath bomb every month, which is really cool. You could do it during a lunar cycle. And we Reiki infuse it, and we send it out to you guys. So it's just like we do all the hard work. There's so many different products out there that you want to support because they don't test on animals or they use more natural ingredients, but they're crappy, and then you spend like $10, $15 on all these different products. So Megan and I, what we do is we try all that shit and we just bring you the best of it. So
Nice. Yeah, I was really interested when you mentioned it. I know this month you said there's going to be a tarot card deck, so I'm probably going to subscribe for November.
Well, oh no, it was actually in our August box. I'll show you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful deck. It's the Lavish Earth deck.
Yeah, that one. That looks really nice.
It's so pretty, and I love it so much. And I believe you can get it. We have a few in back stock, so maybe we can email and I can send you one. But it's a beautiful deck, so yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I totally would recommend subscribing. Just like she said, you get the best of the good stuff, so there's no excuse. And it's pretty affordable too, right? How much is it? Just like $30 a month?
$34.95, and that includes shipping and handling and everything like that, all the good stuff. So yeah, you just leave it up to us, and we send you the magic.
Love it. So what sign is Megan? What's her sun and moon?
Megan's in Aries with a moon in Gemini and a Gemini rising. So,
oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny. She's, I find that all the most important women in my life are Aries women. My grandmother, Megan, any other women, that I'm like close to, I'm like, they're always Aries women. So I like that fire. I like that fiery energy.
Yeah, it's definitely inspiring. I know a lot of close friends I have are Aries. They kind of they always remind me like it's cool to be yourself, but they have this rawness about them that's just really like dope. You can't see it anywhere else. It's original, as they say. So what got you personally into your spiritual path? It seems like you've been on it for a long time. When did you start reading tarot or even like being open to this kind of stuff?
Long time. So I am a quarter Native American, and from the information I've gotten from my father, my great grandfather was a Native American tribe leader. So you're familiar with Clifton, the Delaware Indians. I've always been very, very connected to the earth. I was definitely the weird little kid who talked to moss, like like all the other little kids would be like, oh my God, she's talking to trees again. Like, I was just like, what? They get me. So I was always really into disappearing into the woods for the day, and my mom would like freak out, and I just wanted to be like with the earth and with the animals. And then around 12 years old, I got super into astrology. Someone gave me an astrology book, a small little like Capricorn astrology book, and once I get that Capricorn tunnel vision, so once I get obsessed with something, it's like I can't let it go. So yeah, I started to devour everything that I could devour when it came to reading about astrology. And then my grandma, she had like tarot cards, and she gave me crystals. And when I was little, my grandfather took me to the nature store in Paramus Park Mall, and I picked out tiger's eye that I still actually have. So I was 7 years old when I got this.
Wow. Wow. That specific stone too.
This one, yep.
That's
And
amazing.
I've moved all over the country, and that stone has come with me everywhere. So then as I got older, I ended up, the internet was still new. So as I got older and the internet became more like available, then it became easier to just devour all of this knowledge. And I had a boyfriend whose mom was kind of like, an astrologer, like an amateur astrologer, and she turned me on to a bunch of stuff. And I come from very psychic, intuitive people, so that's always been in me. And I've always had like this ability to kind of like meet people, and for better or for worse, like really kind of like see through them. So when I started to get into the angel cards, I actually had a fairy card deck that was given to me as a gift, and I would do readings just for family members. And I remember I had asked my mom, don't touch the cards, and she touched the cards, and they never read the same again. So
Ooh,
yeah, I was like, just don't touch them, and she touched them when I was not home. And through that just grew the YouTube channel, and that's kind of how it all happened.
nice. I really like like even how you said everything, that there's this ability that Capricorns have, especially the woman, like how to take spiritual principles and apply them practically. It gives this like dope witchy vibe where it's not just an idea, it's you're really brewing some stuff, and it's so awesome. I admire that so much. It's from someone who's just an ideas guy, like I'm always like, my mood is always drawing me to like learn how to do that. And I got on this path like 2012, 4 years ago. So it's really dope that you've been, this is a part of your life. It's kind of what you're here. I've noticed that a lot with the North Node Pisces group. Like you've really paved the way, but in a more grander way per se. Yeah. So as far as I'm kind of curious now, I know you're a Gemini rising. What are like 2 zodiac signs of your preference? Like if you were going to choose someone to date, what is your sign of choice?
To my detriment, always a Pisces and a Scorpio.
Oh, okay. Is it that Cancer moon that likes that?
Mm-hmm. The 2 men that I loved the most in my life when I was younger were 2 Pisces guys. Yeah. And my ex-husband, I was married for a brief 3 years. He was a Scorpio. And I think that because I have a lot of Scorpio and Sagittarius, and, I'm really attracted to the depth of the water.
Yeah.
And my Cancer moon, I'm attracted to that water. So yeah, I think my emotions see them, and I'm like, oh, we know each other in this like romantic tragedy, but it never works out.
Oh, okay. You said to your detriment. I get you. I get you. Or maybe, maybe as they say, you go through the first water signs and then it sets you up for another water sign, that ultimate one. maybe a Cancer. You never know.
I did try to date a Cancer one time, and that was really interesting. I'm dating somebody now, and he's a Sagittarius, and he has a Capricorn moon.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then he has a Leo rising, which is so funny to me because they love, like, Leo rising, they just like love attention so much.
The selfies.
And I'm just like, I'm so like I mean, like, I don't mind attention, but I definitely don't, like, thrive on it like a Leo rising does. So it's like really interesting to see. I've never dated anyone like him before ever. So it's so interesting to see his like personal dynamic unfold as I like get to know him.
Yeah, he must be really fun. His son will be in his 5th house, right?
Yeah, he's adorable. He's like so cheery and like, but he's got a little, like, when he gets pissed off, like I could see that Sagittarius like fire come out, like I could see that. But he's like adorable and cheerful and like loves to socialize, where I'm more of like, I like to stay home and play with my rocks and cards. And he wants to like go out and like show up in a limo, and I'm like, well, I have a 2001 Honda Civic, but whatever.
That works.
Hey, it drives, right? So it's interesting. It is interesting. Yeah.
I like that he's a Capricorn moon, which begs me to ask, how as a Capricorn woman does it feel when you deal with Capricorn moon? What's that sun moon union like?
You know what? I think that really kind of, it gives us this kind of like, we're on the same playing field with a lot of stuff. I feel a deep sense of friendship with this guy and camaraderie, which, like, I've never really, like, I've laughed with other guys, but there's something about him that kind of allows me to be like fun again, but at the same time, I know that he gets where my emotions come from. His emotions are, I don't know, something about his Capricorn moon gets my Capricorn sun, And then I'll tell you something even more interesting. My Venus is in Sagittarius. His Venus is in Capricorn.
Oh, the double reception.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I don't know what that means. So all I know is like, I'm like, wow, this is intense. It's very interesting.
It's very pleasurable. I've experienced, like, whatever the stuff you love about him, he loves about you. It's just like walking hand in hand with a kindred friend. Is kind of
totally. That's totally how I feel. Like, we went to Sedona last week, because he knows how much I love rocks and the vortex. And I had so much fun with him. And I've never really traveled with a partner before. And this was the first time that I had kind of like let my guard down and traveled with somebody, because I'm kind of a pain in the ass traveler. Like, I don't always want to do what the other people want to do. So I've been known to be a tough traveler with other people. So, but him and I had this like kindred, great, easy, time. So it's a dynamic that I've never experienced before, but I like it.
That's great. That's really great. Yeah, I've experienced that with my Venus is in Taurus, so I know a Taurus with their Venus in Gemini. Like, the interaction doesn't ever feel forced. It's just so natural and really cool. So one thing I'm really interested in your perspective of, given that you've been doing this for so long and you've kind of seen the slow, gradual openness of topics like this, where do you feel like the younger generation is taking this, or even now, and like how do you feel we're going to transition in being more open about topics like this? Whereas, like, there's still some astrophysicists who see this is like fake when it couldn't be any more true. So it's like we're representing that transition, but where do you see it going?
You know, I think that the younger generation, they're a whole lot more sensitive than, I don't know, how old are you?
26.
26. Okay. So I think like my generation was the last generation to grow up with like those 70s parents who were like kind of tough on us. And we had to be a little bit more like of a hard edge, and we couldn't show our crystal collection and stuff like that, you know, or whatever. So I think kids today are a little bit more in tune with the mystical side of life. And I think that they're more receptive to it. I have a younger brother who's 18, and you know, he's really receptive to when I feng shui his bedroom or when I like get him crystals or anything like that. So I see them being open to it, you know, not being embarrassed about reading their horoscope or listening to, you know, an Esther Hicks video or something like that. I think that they're the generation who's receptive. And I also think that they're the generation that has it. When we grew up, you went to college, you got a job, you got married, you did that, and that was it. And like you kind of just checked each box off. You know, this generation, they're looking for answers. You know, they don't have that check sheet that we had. They have to go out there and kind of figure it out on their own. And I see a lot of them kind of wanting to probably turn more to, you know, astrology to understand and learn the patterns. And I think that if they do end up doing that, then they're going to be in much better shape because they're going to learn the ebb and flow of the universe at a younger age. You know, whereas I was in tune and in touch, but I was one kid in all of Bergen County who like was into this stuff, you know, and we didn't have the internet. So, you know, I couldn't really like just cruise on over. I remember actually in high school, did I get suspended or did I get detention? Because I would go to the library on my lunch break and I would look up my horoscope, and that witch of a librarian, she would watch what you were doing from her computer in the back, and she'd come out and she'd be like, you can't be on an astrology site in the library. And I was like, but why? It's my lunch break. I'm literally on my lunch break. And she was like, you can't read astrology in school. And
Wow.
I was like, you are not my people. You are not my people.
Wow.
So, you know, I think it's like, it's a different world today. So I think kids are, you know, they don't have the checklist. They're going to want answers and they're going to look a little bit deeper. And so, you know, I think that it's all kind of coinciding. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially with the influence of the internet that totally changes everything
Everything.
so much. So let's play a short game. We'll we'll take turns asking each other any question and then we'll just answer it. So you'll ask me a question first, I'll answer it, and then I'll ask you a question, you'll answer, and then you'll ask me, and then we'll just do it 3 times.
Okay, cool. All right, so I go first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so I'm interested to know, your sun sign is what again?
Gemini.
Gemini. Okay, so what signs do you find yourself attracted to, and do you wish that you were attracted to another sign?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay. Off the rip, I'm very attracted to Libra and Sagittarius. I'm very drawn to Libra's charm, like every sign is, I guess. But yeah, I feel like I could have the most fun with them. But I'm really actually exceptionally drawn to Capricorn because my moon is there. So I think that's the sign I sometimes wish I wouldn't be into because at the end of the day, I'm a Gemini and it's just not really we're good friends, but it just doesn't always like work out unless it works out. I've seen exceptions, but yeah, I think Sagittarius and Libra for sure. Although there's also Pisces and Aquarius too. They kind of surprise me sometimes. Scorpio too sometimes.
They're so just delicious.
Yeah,
Why? With their sexy mystique. I don't know why.
Pisces will just have me with my jaw dropped because I forget how cool they could be. It's just like, oh my God.
All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Capricorns are, they're a toughie for you, but you like the Libra and Sagittarius.
Yeah. Cool. I would say Scorpio too. I just Scorpio gives me the vibe that it would work if it just happens, but I'd have to be focused enough to actually like have something actually happen. But
yeah,
I for some reason strongly feel that I'm gonna end up with a Capricorn or a Sagittarius. Like pretty.
You could end up with somebody on the cusp and then get best of both worlds.
There you go. Watch it be a Cancer or a Leo.
I know, right?
Oh God. Oh, that's another sign too. Virgo. I love Virgo.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of. I love Virgo in the sense where you kind of like a loving mother. Like she can be a bit nagging, but they give you what you need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're providers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, great question, by the way. Definitely great. What do you feel? Or when you like tap into, let's say, other realms or a causal plane, how do you feel? Have you had any experiences of anything paranormal where you were dealing with like a negative entity, or what's some good ways you differentiate, if you're talking to an archangel or a bad spirit guide?
Well, I'll give you a pretty intense story about this. I spoke earlier about my grandma and how she always had tarot cards and all that stuff. Well, she also had a Ouija board. And her Ouija board was solid wood, solid beveled wood, and it didn't say Parker Brothers or anything like that on the bottom. It just said in very big, bold letters, Salem. And when I was very, very little, I begged her to let me play with the Ouija board. And she was just like, later, because my grandma's a hairstylist too, and she had clients coming to the house, and she was like, just don't let my clients know I have that. And I was like, but I don't understand. And when I was younger, I had a lot of like paranormal stuff happen to me. So anyway, her and I like sat down on the bed to use the Ouija board, and I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, and it just started whipping back and forth, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. And my hands were not on it. Her hands were not on it.
Wow.
And I was looking for magnets. I was trying to make sense of what I was seeing. So after that happened, I went to Catholic school, but my life it took a bit of a dark turn as a little kid. And I really felt like, I didn't know at the time, but I felt like bombarded by very bad luck for a very long time after I touched that Ouija board. And it made me so freaked out about like reaching out or opening up myself to another side. And thank God I actually wound up, because I was an actor when I was a kid, I got cast in something, and we were out in the woods, and they set us up in a bed and breakfast, and me and this other little girl who were doing the shoot had gone upstairs in this like weird attic, and sure enough, what was there? A friggin' Ouija board. And she was like, let's play with it. And I was like, no. Mm-hmm. I was like, absolutely do not touch that thing, like ever, So that really put me on guard. And I've had a lot of paranormal things happen to me and to people in my family. And so I think I approach it in a very unique way. And I don't know if anyone else would say that they would approach it this way, but whenever I do readings or anything like that, before I sage, before I light anything, I always say, I call to my angels and guides, Archangel Michael, protect me, protect my home, protect everyone I love, keep us safe, just completely cover us in white, beautiful light. And then if I feel like anything negative, if I feel anything negative around me, I will just be like, let me tell you something, Spirit. I don't have any fucking time for you. And because, I noticed that kind of malevolent spirits will really prey on people who are afraid. And so if you they're like a bully in school. The moment you kind of step back to them and say, I don't have time for you in here. This is my house. Get out. They're not going to really mess with you, So I just keep such a strong protective light around myself and my family that they better be ready for a fight to the death if a negative spirit comes near me. So you kind of just have to have like a warrior mentality.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely true. I know I wasn't even allowed to watch like Harry Potter because I grew up very traditionally Christian, so my mom would say, "Oh, that's all the devil stuff, Ouija boards, no tarot, no astrology." Even now, like she's not really supportive of it, but yeah, it's definitely she's aware of I guess some like dynamics that could be a part of it, but I definitely like that warrior mentality. Like you said, you got to command those light vibes and
you have to
make sure they're not a part of.
That's right. Okay, so now is it my turn to ask a question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So did you ever feel like your interests, I know you said you started to get into everything around 2012, so you were probably around like 22. When you started to share your interests with your friends, did they treat you any differently?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. One thing that's really great about this path is how I've been able to reach out to so many people like around the world and the country. But like now I'm in El Paso right now, but yeah, when I started reaching out, they didn't really treat me differently, and I respect my friends for that. Like I was always this like weird dude, I guess. So when I came out with that, it was just like another weird thing that I did. But I couldn't necessarily talk to them about it. Like I couldn't. They wouldn't be closed off to it. They would just listen to it like something they haven't heard before. But it wasn't something that I could really like, oh, the moon's in Cancer today. You know what I mean? Like actually have a discussion about. So I know some of my friends didn't necessarily hate it because when I had first started learning it, I would go out with them and I'd be talking to everyone and asking them what their sign is and what the astrology was, just so I could really like learn this better. And some of my friends realized that some of the women that I would talk to them about would be so into it. And so they kind of like used me to like pick up on some girls that way, just because they had never seen like someone be so like captivated with what I was saying before. So yeah. I would say that would be the extent. Like, thankfully, I didn't feel a bit alienated. Sometimes I would be like too astrology nerdy and that would be all I'd talk about. And so they could get a little annoyed. But yeah, I didn't get made to feel weird. I just couldn't necessarily like discuss about it. So I did feel a bit lonely, but thankfully, this YouTube platform and social media, I could connect with people similarly in other places who go through the same thing, or at least I could, I could have a conversation like this. So it's awesome. Definitely.
I know. I feel like I never really get to, I feel like I'm always talking to people about astrology and no one really knows anything to say back to me. So I'm just like, bah, 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 bah. But we have each other now. We all have each other now.
Yes, we're a global family now. It's amazing. All right. So my second question to you is, what generation on like a nodal, like what nodal generation and then what Pluto generation do you get along with the best? Do you notice like you get along better with like Pluto Sag or the North Node in Capricorn people, or more than another one? Or
It's interesting you ask that. I don't think I've ever really kind of matched that up. I think a lot of my kind of gauging on whether or not I get along with people is usually like, where is your Mercury, or where is your Mars, or where is the Venus sign. So I think I usually tend to look a little bit more at that, but maybe I should start looking at the nodes a little bit more. That's interesting. Yeah. But
how do you feel about each of the different nodes then, as far as like up till, I guess not all of them, but like your North Node in Pisces. So let's say until North Node in Sagittarius. What do you feel is the difference between all four of them?
well, I feel like North Node in Sagittarius is probably more optimistic. I feel like having my North Node in Pisces is a little bit depressing, to be honest. It's like, it's tough, I feel like, because
It's like an ideal you'll never reach.
yeah, and also like when you think about Pisces people, like I love them dearly, but they have such a hard time. They can never swim together. They always kind of swim against each other. And so having my North Node in Pisces is like, am I forever going to be swimming against, what I'm truly meant to do here? Or, because as energy workers, we just want to be able to do what we do and share what we do with people, but then we have day jobs and stuff like that, and other things that kind of get in the way and pull us away from what we truly want to do. And so I just really want to be able to blend everything and not always kind of feel like pulled in different directions. I want to like be able to flow, but I don't know.
Yeah, it makes sense. Even how you can't put it into words. It's very Piscean. Like it's like,
that nebulous,
yeah,
that like foggy, veiled, like, I don't know, maybe, so it's, yeah, it's not, like a cakewalk or anything.
how do you feel towards the people born 91 with their North Node and Cap? How does that like influence you?
Well, that's my sister. My sister is a Gemini with a Scorpio rising and I believe a Pisces moon. Um, you know, I tend to really get along. It's like the 25-year-old, 26-year-olds now, like you guys. So I'm 32, but I do have a lot of friends who are like 25, 26. So they were born in that like 90, 91 era. And I feel very like big sistery to them. And like, I'm not that much older, but I feel like I have a lot more to share and they're receptive to it. Like I've yet to meet a 25-year-old that isn't kind of like, receptive. And when you say North Node in Capricorn, Capricorn's a tough sign.
Yeah.
It's tough. So if you have a North Node in Capricorn, you're probably gonna be asked more from life than the normal person. I feel like it's a little bit more intense. You're going to have like father time kind of breathing down your neck. You're going to have a little bit more at stake.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very serious destiny.
It is. It's tough. It's not like,
Not for the faint-hearted.
Totally not.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we each have one more question.
Yeah, my question's a good question, so get
Okay.
ready. No, kidding. Okay, so how long into a relationship before you do someone's chart?
Wait. Like if I when I meet someone,
Yeah,
anyone, or and how long until I read their chart?
until you're like, so what time were you born? In what hospital were you born?
That is such an amazing question because honestly, that's the very first thing I do. Like
Uh-huh.
once as soon as I get to know somebody, um, honestly, I won't even ask their name. Sometimes I'll just say like, "Oh, what time?"
I love it.
I think it's my Mars and Aries. Like I have to know like
You have to just go
immediately.
right in.
That's a really good question though, because like I do notice some people like to ease their way into it, but I'm just like that'll be like literally the first way I even open interaction with some people. Like, so when's your birthday? Oh, and what's your name too?
Oh yeah, duh, what's your name? You're not just Sagittarius, you actually have a name.
All right. Oh wow. And then yeah. And then after that, after once I get the chart, then it's like, okay, all right, now I can get to know you. See
Yes.
who you are. And okay, so the question I have for you is what are your three favorite zodiac signs and then the three signs that give you the most challenge?
Ooh. So I always promise myself to publicly never say the ones that challenge me anymore because I've definitely offended a lot of people. So, let's start with the ones that I seem to like and get along with the most. I tend to be able to kick it really well with Aries people, but I'm not sure if they have Gemini heavy in their chart because Megan, business partner BFF, she's got a lot of Gemini in her chart, and so we love to talk and gab. So okay, so let's say Aries, love Gemini, I like, and then probably Cancer as like the three, like Aries, Gemini, Cancer. Yeah, like my bro is a Cancer. I think he's like a triple Cancer, so he's like very Cancery. And then
Oh wow.
yeah, and then so I think the ones that give me the most trouble are Virgo, Leo, and probably Libras.
You said Leo. That was the second one.
Virgo.
Virgo, Leo, and Libra.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me find this official gong right here. All right. I'm going to start playing this every episode because this is 31 episodes. All right. And for the 31st episode straight, every single person I ask this question to has a problem with Virgo.
Really?
Everybody has put Virgo on the shit list.
Yeah.
Everybody, even a Virgo, it's actually quite comical.
I have a really tough time with Virgos. Sad.
They're a bit critical, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think
y'all.
for me, Virgos get caught up in like the weirdest stuff. I'm like, wait, that's what you're concerned about? Like I'm always left like scratching my head, like I'm so confused why they chose that to be concerned about, but okay. And Leos, I think Leos just rub me, I guess like that Capricorn in me, I tend to like, I'll go into the party and I like hang out by the snack table and I kind of just observe,
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, the Gemini in me will come out and I'll chat and then I'll go back to the snack table. But yeah, so I think like Leo and Virgo, and who else did I say?
Libra. I think Libra.
Libra, yeah.
Yeah. Libra to me is like the older brother that's like really cool, but then when they're around their cool friends, they're like, go away. And then I just feel like all left out, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not cool enough for you.
That's actually really funny that you say that, because my mom is a Libra, and when she would have a new kid, she would like forget about her old kid.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was the first, so she had 2 more after me, so imagine how forgotten I was after that.
Oh my God.
She was like, wait, what? I have another daughter? What? Like,
what
me,
is
Mom.
this? Who would have thought? Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I enjoyed this call very much. I love my Capricorns. Y'all are so awesome. In conclusion, do you have any advice for any aspiring spiritualists or astrologers? And if people want to reach you, how can they reach you?
Well, yes, you could reach me at hello@lunarboxshop.com. That's our email, and you can visit us at lunarboxshop.com. But for anyone who is, you know, an energy worker or into tarot or astrology, you're probably a little bit more sensitive than the average person, so you got to toughen up a little. Not like be mean or anything like that, but just develop a little bit of a thick skin, because you're going to get a lot of sideways glances or, you know, questions, or you just have to, it's so hard because as kind of like an intuitive energy type person, you're going to go through a lot of ups and downs. You're going to feel high, you're going to feel low. You might pick up other people's energy. Learn how to protect yourself, learn how to protect your energy field, learn how to, you know, be strong, but don't be hardened. Really just read, research, and also kind of just develop what naturally comes to you. You know, don't try to force yourself into something because you think you should be doing it one way. You know, I really can't stress enough how important it is to understand where the shortcomings in your personality and what your strengths are, and to work around them. You know, don't try to fit yourself into a 9 to 5 if that's not your personality. Figure out the job that can, you know, work with what you're good at and work with the schedule you're good with. And if you don't want to get married and you want to do astrology, do that. And, you know, really just be true to yourself and look at yourself with a very clear, discerning eye, and play up those strengths, study, reach out to people you admire, and just always be learning and growing and loving. And also know that it's like this, you know, it's up and down sometimes when you're working with a lot of energy. So just keep yourself strong and centered, and be strong and centered in yourself. And that's the best advice I can give.
Definitely
stellar. I hope it's helpful.
No, definitely stellar, definitely helpful. Thank you very much once again for joining us. I do have her description link down below. She does very great monthly tarot forecasts too, very accurate. So yeah, that's all we got for this episode.
I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. And until next time, y'all. Peace.